Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? I am so excited for this video because we're going to be doing a huge swatch party with a bunch of new indie eyeshadow palettes. As you can see, I have 4 palettes here. Every single one of these is stunning, and the Glaminatrix Pretty and Pastels palette is pretty brand spanking new. It hasn't been revealed yet at the time that I'm filming this. It is a really beautiful pastel palette, but you've also got some really nice depth. You've got 2 rows of shimmers. It's really cute. So this is not available yet, but I'll make sure to leave the launch date down below. And then these 3 palettes I did pick up myself. I'm just a little bit behind on reviewing them and trying them out, and I didn't really have time to do a separate video on every single one, so I thought we could swatch them all out together. There is the Sinful Echoes in the Darkness palette, which I'm excited about. It's a handmade palette. You can see, I feel like it's been a while since I saw a palette look like this, and it made me happy because you can definitely see the difference between this and like something that's been manufactured, and I love getting to have indie brands that do both. So this palette unfortunately is apparently not restocking, or it's not restocking for a long time because they have to change the pan shape. I'm not really sure, so we're still going to test it out and see. Even if this one isn't going to be available for much longer, is it worth trying more from them in the future? And then we have the Dreamer palette here from Ensley Cosmetics. I was so excited about this one. I grabbed it on a pre-order. It finally got to me. You like my little I Am Knuff shirt? I really, really love the color story of this one. I think it's such a cute pink, purple, cool tone palette. And then lastly, I also picked up the GlamLite Betty Boop palette. Such cool packaging, and I don't know, this color story just got me. I love the reds. I love the soft neutrals that are in here. I love the little pop of purple. I'm not even like that big into Betty Boop. I just really liked the color story of this one. So we are gonna go ahead and we're gonna swatch all of these out. Oh, and I do have the liquid blushes that Glaminatrix is launching as well. I thought maybe we could do some little hand swatches of that just so you can see them up close. If you're new here, I do a ton of content all around indie brands. As you can tell, I love indie makeup. So if you do too, this is definitely a good place for you to be. Make sure that you're subscribed before you go. Let's start swatching. So the Pretty and Pastels palette, I love the name. I love the packaging. I think it looks really cute. I'm almost a little hesitant because I love my pastels from Blend Bunny so much that in my head I'm already comparing this palette to the Sickly Sweet palette, because if I had to recommend to you one pastel palette of all time, it would be the Blend Bunny Sickly Sweet. So I'm really, really curious to play with this and see how I end up feeling. So like I said, we've got 2 rows of shimmers here. And I mean, I feel like there's an overall organization where you've got some purple and pink, some yellow and neutral, some different greens, and some blues. So I think I'm going to swatch like that. I'm going to swatch the way that they're organized just because that makes sense in my head. So the very first shade we have here is Surreal, and it just looks like a really pretty soft pink. We've got Ambient, which is kind of a mid-tone purpley blue. Those just seem to be pretty traditional shimmers so far. We've got Mystify, which is a pale pink matte. I'm having one of those moments right now where I'm like, I wish I had more fingers, but what can you do? Okay. Next we have the shade Fanciful, which looks like kind of a gray tone, soft purple matte. Feels nice and creamy. We've got Tranquil, which is a deep purple. That one feels a little tiny bit drier to the touch in comparison to the lighter mattes, but definitely not like a super dry shade by any means. And then we've got Magical, which looks like a really beautiful, soft, actually, that's kind of bright, a bright yellow. I thought maybe it was a little bit more pastel, but it definitely has a good amount of brightness to it, a really good shine. Kind of like a light bluey yellow shift happening, but I would say it's pretty subtle. Next, we've got Idealist, which looks like kind of a peachy orange shade. Again, kind of a soft green flip to it, but more on the subtle side. We've got Visionary, which is a very pale kind of yellowy green. I feel like in the pan you don't really see the green because of the pink background, but then on my finger it definitely has more green than I was expecting. Imaginary, which is a soft kind of tangerine orange matte. And then lastly for that section, we've got Luminous, which is just a rich, warm red. We've got Soulful, which looks like a really soft, greeny blue, but it's just, I don't know, there's something about it. It has like this really pretty iridescence to it. I really, really like that shade. For some reason, it's just standing out to me more than other blue-green shadows. And then we've got Soothing. I love how all like the names in here are just so like pretty and just a whole moment. This looks like a duochrome with a blue to teal shift. Both of my dogs are snoring so hard in the background right now. It's kind of funny. I don't think you guys are going to be able to hear it, but it's just cracking me up. So we've got Entrance, which is a soft green. I would say so far these pastel shades are not feeling like super pastel. You've got a decent amount of like kind of mid-tones to each shade, and they're not extremely bright. Like just in comparison to Blend Bunny, I feel like their mattes are just like bam, like they just look so bright and opaque, and it's just a different vibe. But I could still see someone who maybe you like pastels a little bit, but like you're not the biggest pastel fan, you might like this because it's kind of in between. And then we've got Labyrinth. I think, I'm not exactly sure that I'm pronouncing that right, but it's a pretty kind of seafoam green. We've got Restful, which is a deeper, pretty true kind of primary green. Okay, next we have the shade Ethereal, which is a really light blue purple shade. I mean, I feel like Ethereal is definitely the perfect name for that. We've got Daydream. Oh, that's cute. Okay, that looks like a really shiny kind of teal base with a periwinkle shift to it. Super cute. We've got Divine, which is a soft blue. I'm determined to fit all of these on my arm, but I'm gonna do a little bit more for that swatch. Okay, we've got Infatuation, which is a very similar tone to Divine, just a touch less green. And then we've got Peaceful, which is a deep navy, like, oh my gosh, such a stunning deep blue. Okay, kind of literally swatching that in the crook of my elbow at this point, but if you can see it, that's what matters. So there is the entire palette swatched out. It's definitely a little bit more colorful coming from Glaminatrix because they've been giving us some more neutrals lately, which I've been loving their neutrals. I feel like this palette is definitely gonna make some color lovers very happy. So I'd be so curious to see what you guys think about this. Let's keep it moving. So like I said, we also have some new blushes, and I know we're swatching eyeshadow palettes, but I just figured I'd show you these because they're launching at the same time as the Pretty in Pastels palette, and I haven't swatched them all out for you yet. I plan on doing a YouTube short just showing what they look like on the cheeks. But really quick, here we have Petal, we have Gentle, which I wore this one off camera and I really liked it. Such a pretty, like, soft, rosy pink color. We have Sunny. Why did I just get, like, a flashback to Sunny with a Chance? Which looks like a really beautiful peach. And then we've got Poppy, which is a really beautiful, kind of more reddy pink. Like, this is going to be stunning on so many skin tones. I love that kind of shade. And then lastly, we have Lavish, which looks to be a little bit more of a neutral kind of brownie blush. Which I'm going to have to be very careful to make that one work, but it looks gorgeous. So there they are. Back to the palettes. Okay, so moving on to the Echoes in the Darkness palette by Sinful Echoes. The packaging on this is so cool. Like I said, this is a newer indie brand, and they did release this palette a little while back, but it sold out, and I feel like I was waiting forever for it to restock, and as soon as it did, I had to grab it. This is a really pretty grungy color story. I think that these mattes are going to be more like that really intense pigmented, maybe a little bit of fallout type of matte, but I'm kind of going into it prepared for that. So this first shade, I want to, is that called Bridesmaids Desires? I think so. No, Bridesmaids Demise, not Desires. Okay, Demise, dark, dark, which is a really pretty B. The B is gone now, but yeah, it definitely feels very thick, very creamy, just like an intense matte shadow. We've got Cynical, which is a really pretty kind of mustardy yellow. This one doesn't feel quite as creamy and intense as the green, which by the way, I forgot to say is kind of like a soft mint. We've got Whisper, which looks like a really beautiful kind of bright blue. I feel like that shade just really makes this palette pop. Ooh, that green. I feel like it looked like a mint on my fingers, but it's actually very grungy. Like it has some murky undertones to it. That was unexpectedly beautiful. Okay. Kind of just building this up a little bit, just getting a feel for the shadows, but actually I think they're not quite as like heavy as I thought they were gonna be, just from how they looked in swatches and in the pan. I think they seem a little bit more buildable, but like the shades right off the bat look so good. Next we have the shade Malicious, which looks like a really beautiful kind of gray taupe, like the taupe of my dreams. Super, super nice. We've got Grunge, which is a deep green. And then Muck It Up. Oh my gosh. Okay, which is a deep brown. Oh yeah, that's such a nice shade. Okay, next we have the shade Dreary, which I don't know why. Like, I feel like that word just does not roll off the tongue, but it has a snake imprint. It looks really cool. And I would say this is like a deep teal. And then we've got Seduction, which is kind of like a rosy burgundy. Like, it looks like just a regular burgundy in the pan, but then swatched out, I feel like you can see this like plummy rosiness to it. So, so pretty. And then starting off with the shimmers, we've got Eerie Silence. Which, okay, you can see there's like some fallout happening from the mattes. That's kind of what I was talking about. You can see like just little specks. So I'm definitely going to be really careful when I use those. But Eerie Silence, it feels pretty like thick to the touch. And it's a really beautiful, like soft green. Oh yeah, okay, so very thick. Kind of just gonna use my finger to warm that up and kind of just soften it a little bit. Seems like a little would definitely go a long way with that type of shimmer. And it's definitely more of just a traditional shine. It doesn't really have any like sparkles or like glitter-esque look to it. Okay, we've got the shade Distant Echo, which looks like it's going to be, oh yeah, the most stunning, like soft, pinky, neutral base with a very intense green flip. Think Natasha Denona Lime Chrome. Same vibes, and it does look very, very sparkly as well. Again, it feels like a little bit thicker, a little bit more crumbly to the touch. Not necessarily my favorite texture for a shimmer, but I do think that sometimes shimmers like this work better for people who have really oily lids, because I know that not always do the like super silky shimmers last the best if you have a lot of oil. I don't have that problem. I actually have very dry lids, but yeah, it does look really pretty nonetheless. And then we've got the shade Shadow, which this feels more like silky. Definitely feels a little bit more creamy, not so thick. And oh my gosh, it's so shiny. Like, actually, I think I picked up a lot. Do you see how much I picked up? I didn't even mean to pick up that much. Like, that looks thick. So it's like a plummy base with a bright blue shift. Yeah, I picked up a lot without even realizing. And then we've got Broken Exceptions, which looks like a really beautiful, soft pink, kind of pinky purple base with a pinky gold shift. Again, kind of an unexpected shade in there, but so cute. I love the color story. Cannot say enough good things about the color story. Yeah, definitely a little chunky. But the shine, the shift is stunning. See, look how much is just A little goes a long way right there. There you go. There is the entire palette swatched out. Like I said, love, love, love this color story. I think it's super, super pretty. I am really curious to play with these on the eyes. I can already tell it might be a little bit messy, but I think with the right preparation, it'll be fine. Okay, next let's do the Dreamer palette. Low-key, I'm leaving Betty Boop towards the end because it has a lot of red tones and I don't want my arm to get stained. So the first shade we have here is called Night Owl, which just looks like a really beautiful, kind of true, neutral, deep brown. We've got Imaginary, which is a bright, like hot pink shimmer. Super cute, definitely a little bit more on the thin side as far as texture goes. We have Muse, which is just a nice kind of rosy matte. Oh, that looks so good. Like obviously not like the best swatch I've ever done, but the color looks really good. I love the hot pink in here too. Okay, next we've got Tranquil, which is a soft kind of purpley pink shimmer. Again, more on the thin side, but pretty shiny, pretty beautiful. We've got Engulf, which is, okay, it's actually a little bit lighter than I thought it was from the palette. It's an indigo leaning more blue, I think, but it's also not like super, super deep. And then we have Drift, which looks like a really beautiful kind of gunmetal silver. That one's very shiny, has some like little silver sparkles in it. Ooh, yeah. I feel like this was the first Unearthly palette where I was just like, I am obsessed. I need to own this. Like this color story is just so, so cute to me. We've got the shade Float, which is more of like, kind of like a champagne-y neutral shade. We've got Soothe, which is a soft pink, but I wouldn't say it's super cool toned. We've got Fantasy, which looks like, I want to say a duochrome. It has a black base and a purple shift, but then it also has like multicolored glitters in it, or sparkles technically. Looks super, super cute. Oh yeah, that's a very pretty shade. Okay, next we have another indigo shade, but this one seems to be more purple. This is called Slumber. Again, the mattes all feel like just a little bit on the thinner side. And then we have Dream State, which, ooh, that's so cute. Okay, it's like a really light kind of green tone silver. Super pretty. And then we've got Clouded, which is a light gray. Oh, I love the tones of that. It's like a rainbowy silver. All right, so there we have it. That's that entire palette swatched out. Again, super beautiful. I don't know that it's my perfect cool tone palette, but I do really appreciate the color story. Moving on to Betty Boop. Like I said, the packaging on this one is so cool. It's kind of funny because I feel like I have multiple GlamLite palettes where the theme like doesn't actually matter to me at all. I'm just here for the color story. But then they have palettes where I'm like, I love the theme, but then the color story isn't for me. The first shade we have here is called Pudgy, and it looks like it's just kind of a, ooh, it's actually, looks kind of like an iridescent multichrome. Like it's not as intense, but it has like a white, green, kind of purple thing going on. But like I said, more subtle, but definitely really, really sparkly and pretty. We've got Boop Love, which is a really pretty kind of soft mauvey pink. We've got Ooh La La. Ooh. Ooh La La. Such a pretty purple shimmer. Oh yeah. Those look super pretty. Next we have Icon, which is another kind of mauvey pink, just a little bit deeper than the previous one. We've got XOXO. Ooh, just a really pretty kind of purpley pink base with a golden shift to it. Very intense. We've got Classy Chic, which is more of like a rose gold type shade. Again, the shimmers in here are so good. Oh my god, I can't swatch for the life of me today, apparently, but look at how pretty. Okay, this is definitely my fault, 100%. I'm gonna just do a little bit more there, okay. Next we have the shade Power and Pearls, which looks like just a really pretty kind of deep gray, again, very sparkly. We've got I'm a Boop, which is a true red shadow, which I was very excited to see in this palette. We've got Lucky Gal, I think. Okay. Ooh, that's pretty too. It's kind of like a raspberry shimmer. Oh, that's such a pretty red. Like, it's not pulling super pink, not pulling super orange. Next, we've got the shade Boop Oopa Doop. I love the name, which is a very like pink raspberry tone. We've got Wink and Giggle, which just looks like a cool gray, kind of neutral. Irresistible, just more of like an orangey kind of transition shade. And then last but not least, we have Major Sass, which just looks like a really hot kind of Barbie pink. It has like a deeper red base and then that hot pink kind of fuchsia shift to it. We've got She's a Star. It's another like kind of raspberry shade, but just like a little bit more depth to it, like slightly less bright. And then we've got Little Black Dress. This is such a creamy black. Like, I'm actually kind of shook by how soft and creamy that feels. All right, y'all. What the frick? This is stunning. Like, GlamLite really outdid themselves with this palette. All right, y'all. So I really hope that you enjoyed this little indie roundup swatch party. Let me know if you want to see this more in the future. I originally planned to do individual videos on all of these palettes, but just kind of ran out of time. There's always something to film. I can still try and do something with Pretty and Pastels. If you'd like to see that more on the face, let me know. But I hope you enjoyed. I'm so happy to have you here, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.